Billionaire yells at black waiter. He says one sentence that freezes the whole restaurant. Beginning. The Viridian spire glittered against the night sky, like a shard of diamond piercing the heavens. At its pinnacle sat the Stellar Table, the most expensive restaurant on earth, where the wealthy came not merely to eat, but to be seen eating. Its windows overlooked orbital shipyards, and the menu was crafted with ingredients imported from across the galaxy. On this particular night, the restaurant hummed with subdued murmurs and the clink of crystal. Servers glided between tables in pristine uniforms, their movements synchronized as though rehearsed. Every guest was either royalty CEO or trillion credit mogul. At the center table sat Victor Draws, the billionaire whose name had become synonymous with unchecked ambition. He had once been hailed as a savior of interstellar commerce, pioneering faster-than-light cargo routes. But in recent years, stories about his cruelty, greed, and disdain for lesser beings outnumbered stories of his successes. Victor leaned back in his chair, swirling a glass of Nebulan red wine that cost more than most people earned in a decade. Around him sat investors, dignitaries, and his new trophy fiancée, Lyra, who wore diamonds mined from a collapsing neutron star. The maitre d' approached with a nervous smile. "Sir, your server for tonight will be Orion." From the shadows, a tall, dark-skinned man stepped forward. His uniform was immaculate, but his eyes carried a weight of quiet strength. He moved with neither fear nor arrogance, only precision. Victor's lip curled. "They sent you." His voice carried across the restaurant, and the murmurs hushed. "Do you people even know how to serve a drink without dropping it?" A ripple of discomfort spread through the room. Some diners shifted uneasily, while others smirked, entertained by Victor's cruelty. Lyra giggled nervously, trying to mask her unease. Orion did not flinch. He set down Victor's plate with perfect grace. And then Victor snapped. "Answer me, boy. What qualifies as serve me?" The billionaire's voice echoed, demanding humiliation. Orion's eyes met his. Calm, steady, and with a single sentence, he froze the entire restaurant. "Because, Victor Draws, I am the one who saved your life." Middle. For a moment, the room held its breath. Forks stopped midair. Glasses trembled in hesitant hands. Victor's face twitched with a mixture of confusion and anger. "You what?" he barked, slamming his glass onto the table. "What nonsense is this?" Orion stood tall, his hands folded neatly behind his back. "Years ago, when your cargo ship Elysium Dawn was sabotaged near the Althean Rift, every crew member was declared lost. That was not true. I was there. I carried you out of the wreckage while the flames consumed the ship. You were unconscious, but alive. I left you at the rescue pod and vanished before your security team arrived." A murmur rolled through the restaurant like thunder. Victor's face turned pale. He remembered the explosion. He remembered choking smoke, fire licking the corridors, and the sudden weightlessness of being pulled through collapsing steel. But he had never known who had saved him. He had always assumed it was a stroke of luck. "You expect me to believe that?" Victor spat. "I expect nothing," Orion replied evenly. "But I recognize the look in your eyes. You know it is true." The room fell silent again, every ear hanging on their words. One of the investors leaned forward. "If this is true, why hide it until now?" Orion's gaze swept the room, not with arrogance but with a kind of quiet sorrow. "Because men like Victor Draws do not thank those who save them. They erase them. They bury them. And in my case, my people have suffered enough under his corporations. Entire colonies starve while his fleets grow fat. I never sought gratitude. I only sought survival." Gasps filled the air. Lyra shifted uncomfortably, clearly aware that the spectacle was poisoning Victor's image in front of everyone who mattered. Victor slammed his fists on the table. "Lies! I don't know this man." But deep down, a flicker of recognition gnawed at him. The face, the voice, it matched fragments of his broken memory from that night. Orion leaned in slightly, his words low but powerful. "When I carried you, you whispered something in your delirium. Do you want me to repeat it here, in front of your investors?" Victor froze. His mouth opened, but no sound came. The investors leaned in, hungry for the drama. "What did he say?" one asked. Orion did not answer. Instead, he straightened, resuming his role as waiter, as though nothing had been said. He placed Victor's dish in front of him with perfect elegance and moved to serve the others. But the damage was done. The room buzzed with whispers. The mighty Victor Draws had been exposed, not as untouchable, but as a man once weak, once saved by someone he now demeaned. The revelation. The dinner dragged on. Victor tried to regain control, making cruel jokes and belittling Orion whenever possible. But the words had planted themselves in every mind. Finally, as dessert was served, an investor named Selene Kaith, a woman who controlled half the interstellar trade fleets, leaned forward. "Victor, If this man truly saved your life, perhaps it's a sign you should reconsider how you treat those beneath you. Beneath me? Victor roared. There is no one equal to me. Celine, don't let a glorified busboy sway you with fairy tales. Orion calmly set a final glass of wine before him. Then perhaps I should tell him what else happened on Elysium Dawn. Victor's heart skipped. He clenched a glass, so tightly it cracked. You wouldn't dare. Orion's voice carried the room like thunder. The explosion was no accident. It was sabotage, ordered by Victor himself, to eliminate evidence of his illegal shipments. Hundreds of crewmen died that night, disposable lives sacrificed for profit. The only reason Victor survived was because I refused to let another innocent die in a fire. The restaurant erupted. Gasp shouts disbelief. Some diners rose from their seats. Lyra's hand flew to her mouth in shock. Victor leapt to his feet. Lies! He screamed, but the panic in his eyes betrayed him. Orion's gaze did not waver. I saw the files. I saw the orders. And I carried you out anyway. Do you know why? Because even then I believed no life, not even yours, should be thrown away. The room was frozen. Then, slowly, Celine K. stood. Victor, is this true? Victor stammered, unable to answer. Sweat beaded on his forehead. Investors began to murmur. This was more than gossip. This was testimony, spoken publicly in front of the galaxy's most powerful figures. Climax. Security entered the restaurant, alerted by the commotion. Victor, desperate, pointed at Orion. Arrest him. He's an imposter. A liar. But Orion raised his wrist, activating a small hollow emitter hidden beneath the sleeve. The air shimmered, and suddenly the room was filled with projections. Digital logs, security feeds, documents stolen from Victor's archives. The truth unfolded before every eye. Orders signed by Victor. Cargo lists showing illegal weapons and narcotics. Crew rosters marked for disposal. The evidence was undeniable. The restaurant erupted into chaos. Some guests fled, others shouted. Celine K. calmly recorded everything on her datapad. Victor lunged at Orion, his face twisted with rage. You ruined me. Orion sidestepped him effortlessly, his voice steady. No, Victor, you ruined yourself. All I did was serve the truth. Ending. Within hours, the scandal spread across the galaxy. News feeds replayed the footage from the restaurant. The words of the black waiter who had unmasked a billionaire. Victor Draws was stripped of his titles. His corporation seized, his empire crumbling overnight. He disappeared soon after, hunted by those he had once betrayed. As for Orion, he vanished too. Some said he returned to his people on the outer colonies. Others whispered he joined the resistance against corrupt corporate empires. But one detail endured, passed from mouth to mouth like a legend. A billionaire once tried to humiliate a waiter. And with a single sentence, that waiter froze the most powerful men and women in the galaxy.